Viewer Bob Anyuru from Leicester, England, on Nigeria's elections. Bob writes, "Dear Shaka and the panelists, it is widely accepted that one of the most difficult undertakings in young democracies is the process of inculcating a culture of peaceful political transition in Africa. This is more so in countries that have had and still have dictators who manipulate constitutions and the minds of their people to justify their continued stay in power with claims that the people love them. If election in America that brought Bush to power in his first term is anything to go by, then it appears that no country can claim the moral high ground in terms of free and fair elections. The recent elections in Nigeria have been widely criticized by both domestic and the international community as being seriously flawed. For the purpose of maintaining unity in Nigeria, would you give the benefit of the doubt to President Yar'Adua for admitting for the first time in Africa that he has come to power in an election that has been seriously flawed and that behavior should not be tolerated in the future?" Bob Anyuru, Leicester, England. What about that, Lanre Banjo?
The writer is right. There was no election in Nigeria. There was what we called armed robbery.
What do you mean by armed robbery? Because the last time I checked, I haven't seen, frankly, any thieves being arrested by the authorities in Nigeria.
When authorities send or sent people out to steal, they cannot arrest their agents. So that is why you do not hear of anybody being arrested. I was a gubernatorial candidate. I was there. I witnessed it. People came to the polling booth. They shot into the air and grabbed the ballot boxes and took them away. At least that happened throughout the nation. And the result and the effect of that is that it shot the morale of the voters. So by the time we had the presidential the subsequent elections, people did not come out to vote.
That was the presidential elections.
So I don't know how Yar'Adua was able to get 24 million. April 21. Yes. So, I mean, Yar'Adua, I read his speech. First of all, I want to salute him. He is the first Nigerian ruler. Not that Lanre Banjo recognizes his presidency. I do not. But he's the first Nigerian ruler who will say, listen, I am a servant leader. Never heard of in Nigeria.
Then in that case, he's not a ruler. He is a leader.
He has not been tested yet. That's what he said on the first day. There's a difference between talking the talk. Now, the test for him will be walking the walk.
Walking the walk.
Exactly.
What do you understand by someone saying that he is a servant leader, really? Because everybody who either works for the government is supposed to be a civil servant or a public servant. So what is the difference now? What does he actually mean when he says that?
Well, based on records, those who have governed in Nigeria, whether at the presidential level, governor level, or local government level, they are there for people to serve, not to serve the people. That is why when you are shooting, when you are assassinations, they don't care.
They are there to be served by the people.
Yes, not them to serve the people. That is why when they have electricity, nobody is finding solutions to that. I mean, 8 years of Obasanjo, we went from frying pan into fire, electricity-wise. 8 years of Obasanjo, Nigerians became poorer. And then you had, in a shameless manner, the former president saying that he had performed. So that brought challenges to Yar'Adua. So if whether his rigging will be regarded as only rigging, in the sense that if it turns out that he erased Obasanjo's record by not following him, because in his speech he swore to follow Obasanjo's path. Obasanjo's path is the path to ruination. Obasanjo's path is the path to destruction. I will advise Yar'Adua to stay away from it if he wants to enjoy the rulership.
Some critics, Lanre Banjo, have tried to point out that Mr. Yar'Adua is not his own man. In fact, they have gone to the extent of saying that he is a stooge of the man that he just replaced in Aso Rock, Abuja, Olusegun Obasanjo, who, of course, as we talk, remains the chairman of the ruling PDP. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that has not been proven. I do not know Alhaji Musa Yar'Adua personally. But that is, he has the body now to prove it to Nigeria or Nigerians that, hey, I am not Obasanjo's stooge. But up till yesterday, he had to play it. He had to lay low so that Obasanjo would not pull the rug out of his pocket. Look at what Obasanjo did to him. On the very day that he was leaving power, he increased the price of oil, creating crisis for Yar'Adua to manage. I expect Yar'Adua to even address that in his maiden speech and say, listen, I either support it or I don't support it. I want to add to the pain and pang of Nigerians, or I don't want to add to the pain and pangs of Nigerians. But Yar'Adua was mute. Now, Alhaji Yar'Adua also spoke about the electoral process. It's very difficult for somebody to assume power through shady means, through armed robbery, through assassinations, and then you want to change it. If he does that again, it will not only be the darling of the people, I think his own God will also give him a kudos. But does he know how to change it? Because I read his speech. In his speech, he did say that I will set up a panel to examine the entire electoral process with a view to ensuring that we raise the quality and standard of our general elections and thereby deepen our democracy. Not only general elections are flawed in Nigeria, elections begin with primary. In Nigeria of today, each candidate is financially responsible for the conduct of primary elections. It should not be so. Yar'Adua's panel or committee should address that.
The election has come and gone, Lanre Banjo.
Yes.
The new president has been sworn in.
Yes.
If you were in his shoes, Lanre Banjo, what would you have done? Would you have allowed yourself accepted to be sworn in, or would you have rejected the election simply because people say it was flawed?
That's a very good question. I must thank you so much, Shaka, for asking that question. First of all, I would never be in Alhaji Musa Yar'Adua's shoes. But if I find myself in his shoes, I would say no. I am not going to be a beneficiary of a stolen mandate.
Lanre, this is not a personal thing. We are talking about a political party, correct?
Yes.
And you are supposed to be the flag bearer of a political party.
Yes.
An election has been conducted.
Yes.
Yes, it is true that there are concerns both domestically and internationally.
Yes.
But some people will tell you, Lanre, this is not the only election, if you want me to use the word, that has ever been stolen.
Well, God forbid, when Murtala Muhammad was assassinated, it wasn't the professional ruling council that was assassinated, it was one man. God forbid, if anything happens, they will go after this man. It will not be PDP that will be assassinated, it will be him. That is why I have to come in and say, I am principled, I am honest. This is a way to prove my integrity, since people are contesting that this election did not come about in a transparent manner. I want to stay away until we hear the result of the tribunal. Many Nigerians, and including the entire world, will applaud Yar'Adua.
But not everybody, by the way, is really on the same page, because let's face it, ECOWAS, the Economic Community for West African States, decided to differ with everybody else. They said the election reflected the will of the Nigerian people. How do you react to that?
Well, ECOWAS are not Nigerians. ECOWAS are not the one living in Nigeria without water, without electricity. If those leaders in ECOWAS are respectable leaders, they should not even associate themselves with this kind of election. They should listen to those who are there. But when you look at their various countries, we have the same problem that we have in Nigeria. So who are they now to be telling me that elections are free and fair in Nigeria? So nobody can even place premium on what they say.
Nobody can.
I will not place premium on what they said. I will not even respect it.
I see.
Because they are not the Nigerians suffering.
I see. Well, I guess we have to go for a break, and we'll pause for a short break, of course, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion, so please don't go away.